The year is 2002, and Sega has officially announced that they have stopped making game systems. You know, hardware. Being that this was the case, Sega decided to shift a lot of their big franchises, such as Echo the Dolphin and Sonic the Hedgehog, and even this game right here, Toejam Earl. They decided to shift a lot of their franchises to other companies, so that other companies could be the ones to make, or at least help out, with the production of the games. And being that this was the case, here we see one of those franchises getting taken to the world that was Microsoft. Toejam Earl, specifically in this game's case, Toejam Earl 3 Mission to Earth.
He's the funkiest one of all of us. Feel the rhythm run through ya. It's the spirit of funk. Hallelujah.
In this game, you played as 3 different characters, Toejam Earl, as well as the brand new character for this game, Letitia. As you're going around these different environments, trying to bring back the world that is... not bring back the world that is funk, but bring funk back to the world. As it's kind of like the Force in a way, I suppose. As there's this big bad guy, I believe, known as the Anti-Funk, whose sole purpose is to try and save... no. Who's... basically, the Anti-Funk is trying to get rid of funk, and you, as the aliens, will use the funk to, you know, save the world from that which is unfunky. Or at least that's what it says on the Wikipedia page. Anyway, as you can see, this game is basically a 3D platformer, as it's quite common in this franchise. Every iteration of the Toejam Earl series, they like to shift it. They like to shift how the gears in terms of gameplay and genre. Like, for example, the first game, which was just called Toejam Earl, was an isometric 3D platformer, kind of like Sonic 3D Blast, but on the Mega Drive. Yeah, you can kind of imagine how that game was. But that game was actually kind of considered to be quite a classic, so, you know, I'll let it pass. The sequel, Toejam Earl 2, Panic on Funkatron, was a 2D platformer. And while it was still considered a good game, it was kind of, sort of, I wouldn't say received worse in terms of reception, but it isn't as widely is remembered as much as the first game. And as you can see here, like I previously mentioned, this shifts gears again from being a 2D platformer to being pretty much a fully 3D platformer. In my opinion, this game is actually quite a lot of fun. Can be quite challenging, but you know, it's got a nice charm, and I like the soundtrack. The soundtrack is pretty funky, I must say. So anyway, why am I talking about Toejam Earl 3 randomly? Well, there's something I've got to show you guys. A version of Toejam Earl 3 that was kinda sort of never meant to be released. Until now. Hoping this is still working. This should be, when it loads, here we are. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Toejam Earl 3 Mission to Earth beta. Well, yeah, it actually is the beta. This is, or actually, you know what? No, this is not the beta. This is the cancelled version. The cancelled version of Toejam Earl 3. You're probably wondering, how the heck am I playing this? Well, this game was originally planned, as you guys may know, as I briefly mentioned earlier, this game was released on the original Xbox. However, the game originally was planned to be released on the Sega Dreamcast, which is the version you guys are seeing right here.
Yo, what's up? Yo, what's up?
And
Alright.
as you can see, it's fairly similar to the version that you see on the Xbox. You know, same sort of gameplay. Obviously, it's a little less graphically intense, and obviously the landscapes are a bit more. If I were to describe the landscapes in this version, it's a lot more like the original Toejam Earl, how the levels looked. But the only thing that you can't do in this game is you can't jump, which is something you can do in the original. But in this version, as you can see, I've got the spring shoes, which as you can tell, they are pretty much the same as they are in the Xbox version. But you know, so as I was mentioning earlier, you're probably wondering how I'm playing this. Well, I forget when it was. It was either like 2017 or 2018, or maybe it was earlier than that. I believe the original creator actually stepped forward onto Twitter, or maybe it was on like a certain website, I don't remember. But he actually uploaded the unfinished version of Toejam Earl 3 just straight onto the internet, and people with emulators who use a working Dreamcast emulator are actually able to play it. Now here's the thing, some people actually managed to get this unfinished build and print this unfinished build onto actual Dreamcast discs. So what you are all seeing right now is the Toejam Earl 3 game running on an actual Dreamcast. This is all 100% being run on a Sega Dreamcast.
I'd be happy to say that.
And as you can see, it's running just fine. It's running just fine. Like I said, you can't jump except if you do that. Oh god! Stop doing that. If you run next to the edge, he'll automatically jump in the air. Don't ask me why he does that. I guess they didn't function a working jump, so that's why he does it like this. But yeah, in terms of controls, the A button does this, the wave. The B button brings you a map. If you double tap it, it gives you the full map. Y does the hello. And X fires the Funkify note. I'm not going to be able to get that out of my nose. Damn it! And if you press start, it brings up the presents. But you know, oh damn it.
One more time.
But yeah, obviously I think the Xbox version is definitely the more polished version of this game. But I still think it's really cool just to see that a developer actually went out of their way to actually release an unfinished game publicly, and are like totally okay with people actually trying this out. You know, because most developers don't really release like beta / unfinished versions of games out to the public. At least, you know, most developers don't do that. And the most that you usually get are, in terms of, like, work in progress builds of the game, is usually betas. Maybe like early alphas and betas, but that's really all you get in terms of publicly released unfinished builds of games. But yeah, there's not really much else to say really. It's basically the same game. It's got the same music and the same voices and everything, just this is what the game originally was planned to be on before Sega, I believe Sega, when Sega announced they weren't making consoles anymore, they went to other developers like Microsoft and Sony and even Nintendo to have some of their IPs sort of go to other companies. And of course, as we all know, Toejam Earl 3 went to Microsoft, which we got the first game. But yeah, that is all I've really got to showcase for this. If you go into the elevator, you can see sort of the other levels, but here's the thing, this build is quite glitchy and is very prone to freeze if you go into certain levels. Like, it's very easy for this game to freeze, even if you're playing this on a Dreamcast like I am. It's a lot of the times it can just freeze like out of the blue. As you can see here, we've got the rhythm game that once again was also featured in the game.
Yeah, some money, now that's what I'm talking about.
But yeah, haven't really got much else to say really, except I hope you enjoyed this quick look at Toejam Earl 3's unreleased version of the game.
One more time. Let's do this.
This is very unscripted at this moment in time, so I haven't really got much else to say, except I hope you enjoyed watching this. If I uncover any other unreleased titles that I can actually play, I will do a video on them. This was just kind of a different kind of video that I kind of wanted to make because I had the game and I wanted to showcase it off. And yeah, that's all I've really got to say really. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.